painting I am doing today, I am going to be using a piece of Strathmore watercolor paper, and this was sold in a 9x12 piece of paper, but I always get tricked by the size, and I never really want to use a 9x12 because it's almost impossible to frame it. So I've cut it down to an 8x10. I traced and cut out an image of Texas, and I'm going to put it in the center. I'm going to be tracing around the Texas with a pretty dull pencil. I'm going to be using my Cotman brushes and my Winsor & Newton Professional watercolors. And I'll probably be using an ink towards the end to just do the outline of Texas, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going to see how I feel about that, and so I'll show you that when we get there. Also, I used a ruler to cut down my paper. But, so with that, I'm just going to jump into doing this, and I'll talk a little bit about why I'm doing this piece, and then I'll talk a bit about maybe other things. I don't know. We'll see. So since my channel is fairly new, most of you probably don't know a whole lot about me, but I am not from Texas, so I'm not painting a Texas because I particularly love the state of Texas, but my fiance and his family are from Texas, and they do love the state of Texas, as all good Texans do. And right now we do live in Texas. But I'm painting this for his family reunion. At the family reunion each year they kind of have a silent auction, and the proceeds from the silent auction go towards getting the event space and some of the food and that kind of stuff for the next year's family reunion. And I kind of wanted to contribute something this year to the silent auction, and I thought that a good thing to contribute might be one of my watercolors. Generally in his family, the silent auctions might have something like really nice quilts. He's got a lot of family members that actually do hand quilting and that sort of stuff, and I'm just learning how to quilt, so I needed to pick something that I was good at, and so I picked watercolor. I'm also happy to report that this item did sell at the silent auction, so I didn't waste my time by painting it. And I'm just happy that that's a little bit of extra money for next year's family reunion, so we can continue having it in a nice air-conditioned place and having barbecue and all kinds of stuff like that. And as we all know, if you know Texas, that no get-together is complete without the Texas-style barbecue. And this certainly was a get-together where there was plenty of barbecue to go around. Also, trying to stick with the Texas theme, the flowers that I'm painting are actually Texas bluebonnets. If you're not from Texas or you don't know much about Texas, you might not know that every spring the bluebonnet bloom is a really big deal. So Lady Bird Johnson, so that's Lyndon Johnson's wife, she was one of our first ladies, really loved wildflowers, or flowers in general. And when they were on the presidential campaign trail and driving around the country, she thought that the interstates were really boring just to be on forever and ever. So in her home state of Texas and across the country, but especially in Texas, there are a lot of wildflowers that have been planted along the interstate because of her. And every spring the bluebonnets bloom, and they're just fields of blue flowers. There's actually like websites that do bluebonnet reports, and it's really fun. And I had to close my palette here because my cat Hattie kept coming up and trying to lick my watercolors, like not the wet watercolor, but like the dried watercolor. I don't quite know what it is about watercolor, but she seems to really want to eat it. I think it might be one of the binders. I think Winsor & Newton uses linseed oil as a binder. I don't know if that smells particularly good to cats, but I really like painting watercolor flowers like this that are kind of a little bit more of impressionistic versus like exact detail. I think it's kind of a fun and whimsical style to paint in. And here I did, as you see with the micron, go in and make some like more details to highlight some of the petals. And I do decide to outline some of the Texas where it's not being covered by the flower or the flower leaf, and I'm using just a black India ink, and that ink is actually waterproof. It was pretty good. It's from Daler & Rowney, and it was fairly cheap, but I'm going over it a couple times to get some thicker black lines, and I liked how that looked because it seemed to make the Texas pop. And here I'm just going over and doing some final details with highly concentrated white paint. This is white gouache paint, and gouache kind of acts like an opaque watercolor, and I'm just taking it straight from the tube. That way I'm getting really, really thick gouache and getting like a really good white to do the highlights. I do try to use a jelly roller here and there, and now what I'm doing is covering up some little speckles of watercolor that I got over the paper. But I do use a jelly roller. I just also use the white paint as well. But I actually really, really like how this turned out, and I hope the person who won it at the silent auction is happy with it. They seemed happy when they left, and I did put this in a frame, so I just went to the craft store and got an 8x10 frame. That's why I like working in common sizes like 8x10 or 5x7 as opposed to working in a 9x12 or something like that. It's really easy for people who are getting your art, or for you just to pop to the store and get a frame to put it in, and then it just looks really nice. And I like how this turned out. So let me know what you think. If you'd like to see more videos like this, you might want to subscribe to my channel. I try and post a new video every week. Sometimes I don't quite make it, but that's what I aim for. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.